Radio stations at DoverCountyDailyNews.com. Rick Jensen, joined in the studio this morning by Kim Welch. Kim is a resident of the town of Gardner. She is a former Southern Door School Board member and also a former Southern Door School Board president. And she is here this morning because she is not in favor of the referendum that's on tomorrow's ballot for the Southern Door School District. Good morning, Kim. Welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about what it is that you think this referendum tomorrow is not a good idea.
Well, I think this referendum is not a good idea because there's two things I ask of my school board and my administration, and that's transparency and accountability. And I'm not getting that. I do attend school board meetings regularly, and I've missed a couple, but not very many. I've watched the videos when I have missed them, and the numbers just don't jive. It's not for the $37 per $100,000 of assessed evaluation. I wouldn't care if it was $137 per $100,000. If you tell me where the money's going. I've heard over and over that we've made budget cuts, we've eliminated positions. We may have eliminated positions, but the other part of that sentence is, but then we created new positions. We have more full-time equivalent people now with less students than we had when Southern Door had 1,600 kids at Southern Door. And that's bothersome to me. I see line item budget things that are way out of whack. They just don't make sense. At the annual meeting, not this year, but last year, the parents stood up and said, don't spend this money on something that we really don't need. Put it towards the kids. They budgeted $67,000, I believe. It came in at over $104,000. We'll just take from the fund balance. Fund balance is not there to spend like grandma's inheritance that you got. Fund balance is there to eliminate the need to short-term borrow, to take care of any emergencies that might come up. Borrowing from the fund balance is not how you balance a budget.
I guess let's talk about budget projections and levy projections with this as it ties into this referendum tomorrow.
Well, that would be great. The mill rate that was passed by the school board for 14 and 15 is $9.12 for assessed evaluation. The actual dollar amount of the proposed 14-15 budget is $16,469,498. Now, if you divide that by the third Friday head count, and I don't have the exact numbers, I called and wasn't able to get them, so let's say it's $11.50, and that's a guess, make it clear, but I believe it's less than that.
Based on last year's numbers.
Right, based on other numbers, and we always hear about open enrollment is costing us so much. We're spending over $14,000 per student at Southern Door to educate them. And it takes about a $3 million cash flow in the district that you and I discussed just to get the fund balance over a number that's budgeted to take us from 14-15 school year without putting our district at risk for short-term borrowing. Now, the board spent a very limited amount of time on the budget since they disbanded the finance committee. A lot of the committees were disbanded out there. Only select ones were put back into organizational reasons. I don't know why. And the board and the administration gave the sole discretion for the numbers that were presented to the budget. Now, the board, I think, spent maybe an hour at the very most discussing whether or not the current budget and tax levy was finally presented with a line item budget. Now, the projected budget for 15 and 16 without a referendum is $9.40 per thousand. With the referendum, it's projected to go to $9.77. Now, that would be a year-over-year increase of 65 cents per thousand for 14-15, not the 37 cents they're trying to sell you. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, the numbers don't add up. Tell us the whole truth. Give us the whole picture. Again, transparency and accountability.
Let's talk about the future of the kids and what this referendum may mean for the future.
Well, for the future of the kids, I see this referendum as something that what kid would want to inherit this kind of debt? Not only are we responsible to educate our children now, we are responsible to pass on a fiscally responsible financial school district to our children. The cuts that are proposed are going to hurt our kids now, but if you pass this referendum, you're going to hurt our kids in the future too. We need responsibility is what we need, and I'm not seeing that. And that's why I'm not in favor of this referendum. I know state aid has been reduced over the years, but so has the student count significantly, and that has a lot to do with it. Not only do we have to give our kids a good education today, we have to pass on a financially sound district to our kids in the future. It's not just about the education. It's about the future too.
So if this doesn't pass, what do you suggest that the school administration does?
Well, honestly, I think you need to take a hard look. I saw line item budget things that just didn't make sense. There's one with FICA tax that you're budgeting 12,000, but you're spending 16. It doesn't make sense. Look at the numbers. You've got to clean it up. I think they need to bring a finance committee back. We had a fabulous finance committee of experts, and for some reason it was disbanded. And I think that it should have definitely been left together and worked with our school board.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'm just not in favor of the referendum. Give me accountability, transparency, show me exactly where the money's going, and I have not seen that. Don't hold my children hostage in order to bully us into voting for a referendum.
All right, we want to thank Kim Welch for joining us in the studio this morning. Radio station's DoorCountyDailyNews.com.